Functionally what I'm doing.
Months until I'm customizing my pussy lips. I'm very excited.
For fucking the giggles.
Yo, you ain't getting any candy for it, bitch.
I have 1 round left. Just enough for myself. I just hit the button.
He just hit the button, folks.
I'm a thick ass boy, apparently.
Rob's a thick ass boy, and you're listening to the Camel Cat.
Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
Leave now.
As you can tell, Rich is always hyped to bring you our quality content.
Of course he is. He's extremely hype. He's not playing. Oh, he is playing a video game right now.
Of course I am.
Man, he's so invested in this.
I mean, you just got back. You just got
Whatever,
back.
dude. You've had a solid 5 minutes to turn that shit off.
You have not been here for 5 minutes.
All right, what, 2?
But
Oh,
anyway,
man, I know how quickly you can quit and
Why
save
can't I do
for
both?
Total War Warhammer 2. Because then you're not listening. You're not giving your
Oh,
undivided
that's
attention to the
huge.
content.
You're talking to a guy
play
who has
games.
gotten through college not listening.
I don't
with all
play-
aids.
I don't
Right?
play games while we record this shit. I stare at Discord and I listen to bangers, and that's all I do. Anyway,
welcome.
weeks?
I'll go first, I guess.
Wow, he'll go first, mixing it up.
2 new games this week. I played my normal, like Legends of Runeterra and everything. Updates came out for that. A little bit of League, all that. But I played 2 new games. One I was playing right before we started, Scrap Mechanic Survival. Picked that up with the Steam Summer Sale.
Summer sale?
And I started Sea of Thieves. Both of which, from my first impressions, are fun.
Sea of Thieves, I actually spoke to Richie about this a few days ago. Sea of Thieves is a cool looking game. I like it. It seems interesting. It also seems like the kind of game I don't want to get unless I have people to play with.
Very much so. I'm playing right now
Also,
with a buddy of mine.
even though it's on sale, isn't it still like $40 or something
Yeah,
like that?
that's the problem I have with the game right now is that it looks fun. It's cool. I'd get it if people would get it. The problem is I'm not paying $40 for it.
Oh, it's not even on sale. They didn't even
No.
put it on sale.
No, they don't have it on sale. But
Hard
Steam having
yikes.
that thing where if you spend over 30, you get $5 off. So it's technically $5 off.
Sure.
Technically.
On the technicality, I suppose.
I'm technically correct. The best kind of correct.
Yeah, the
And you
best
can quote
kind.
me on that.
They don't have a big slash through the number on their page, so I'm calling it that it's not on sale. Fuck that noise.
But anyway, I'm playing with my buddy, and it's fun. It is fun. There is a little bit of repetition to it, but it is fun just kind of just sailing in the water, fucking around, finding shipwrecks, and just getting loot.
The game looks fun. Like, I've seen people stream it and stuff. That their big streamer, The Summit, streams it a lot, and I've seen it. It looks fun. I just wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to play it unless I had like a bunch of you guys to play it with.
I mean, I got it. I'll play with you.
I will not be spending $40
Yeah,
on
but
it.
that's the other problem is that I don't want to spend $40 on it.
But yeah, the other game, which
35. Sorry.
Yeah, 35.
I stand correct.
But the other game, Scrap Mechanic Survival, also fun. Just started playing. It's a survival game with Scrap Mechanics building, which is fucking fantastic. I'm terrible at building though, so it's going fantastic. I was not meant to be an engineer, folks.
I don't know. That game didn't really appeal to me.
I mean, that's
Wow.
I think
Scathing
it's like-
review.
I think it's just the aesthetic. Oh, it's just not my cup of tea. That's it. That's
I
it.
mean, the art style is something to be, for not everyone's taste, but the premise of it's just a survival game with a very, very open build system. You could almost take apart just about anything in that game and build just about anything in that game, and I love that. I just gotta learn how to build, which is gonna be the biggest obstacle.
It's very positively reviewed from what I'm looking at. People
Yeah,
like
I
it.
mean, people like it, but I don't
The
like
guy
it.
looks a
so.
little weird. He looks kind of like a squat.
Yeah, you're gnomes. You're basically a squad of gnomes.
Oh, so you're literally gnomes.
Yeah.
Nice. I hate gnomes. Thumbs down. I hate gnomes.
Why you hate gnomes?
I hate gnomes.
Why you hate gnomes? Why you got little people?
Fuck gnomes. I didn't say little people. I said
Just
gnomes.
gnomes.
Specifically
Different.
gnomes? What if they got
If you're a human that happens to be a little person, you're fine. If you're a gnome, thumbs down.
interesting? Okay. But
Big negative review.
big negative review. Brendo, right now going on Steam, leaving a negative review, just saying I hate gnomes.
I hate gnomes. I can't because I don't own it, so they won't let me.
Yeah. That was my week basically. 2 new games, which I'm looking forward to continue playing.
Nice. Who next?
I'll go next because it's very short.
Wow, we're really mixing it up this week with the order.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go, dude.
My week, very, very short. I didn't really do much because, I work a lot. Been playing a lot of Total War again because the SFO update came out. And that shit is banging. I love that mod.
I tried that mod once. Now I don't know what they did in this update that you're talking about, but I tried it once and I was like, yeah, it's alright. To be honest, I liked what they did to certain aspects of the campaign rather than their like unit rebalancing and unit additions and shit like that. I didn't feel like I needed any of that. But the stuff they do to the over game, like the campaign world itself, is pretty tight. Like I like the unit cap restrictions and stuff like that.
The I mean, like the unit stuff is cool. I like it. Yeah, not necessary. I'll agree, but it's it's a welcome thing.
I just like my butthole puckers whenever we start talking about modders making like balance changes because it's like I never trust anyone to get that shit totally right when people are adding units and stuff like that.
I
It's
don't
cool
know,
from
like,
a fun perspective, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's like
but
I'm always
it's
afraid there's that one thing I haven't found yet that's like super OP
yeah.
that they
What's
threw in.
cool about it though is it's the team and they do their balancing. Uh, it's neat because like there are units in the mod that should just be in the base game. Like Black Orcs with shields.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, yeah, they have the ridiculously OP shit too, but it's I don't think it's like like the normal stuff isn't necessarily crazy OP. It's just stuff in the game, and I don't know. It's like a single player game, so I'm not necessarily worried about the balance too much.
The only reason I worry about balance in that regard is because I enjoy a challenge when I'm playing something in a single player setting, and I don't want to just find like that one unit they put in for whatever race I happen to be playing that's just like, oh yeah, this thing's fucking busted. Like it's gonna steamroll the AI 9 times out of fucking 10. I can make like stupid decisions because this thing is just like poorly balanced that they threw in. You know what I mean? I'm always concerned I'm gonna run into some facet of a mod that kind of does that and ruins my enjoyment a little bit of the single player content. If that's not there, then that's cool.
When was the
But
last time you played it? Because there's been a lot of updates.
let me think. I'm trying to remember what the most recent DLC was at the time. Vampire Coast was out, but I think they'd been out for a while. So I don't know. Maybe
So it's been
like
a bit then.
I spent a little bit, yeah.
They've done a lot of updates. I'd check it out again if you ever had the time and desire. Besides that, a little bit of if we go back to maybe a few podcasts ago, I told you this, Brandon, but Kingdom Under Fire Heroes is now on Steam. The sequel to Kingdom Under Fire: The Crusaders. So I'm playing a bit of that, and I haven't gotten too far into it. I just played like a custom battle because they added custom battles in Heroes, and I did like the first mission of one of the campaigns because there's like 6 campaigns in that game, and it's very much like the first one. So more on that as I go into it, but very hyped that it's out. Oh yeah, and then I guess the highlight of my week, and that is continuously for 3 days straight getting me and Brandon's collective ass reamed in Dota.
I'm glad you're talking about this because now I don't have to.
Well, no, you got to mention it at least. Yeah, at least
do I?
A little bit.
Hey, folks, the 10 of you that are listening to this, this is also part of my week as well. Because I have also been experiencing getting my ass reamed for 3 days.
Yep.
With him.
Basically, what happened was 3 days ago, me and Brandon had our last win. And then, for how many games you counted?
It was 20 total. 17 losses, 3 wins. 17
losses in a row.
Not in a row. It was split up.
Oh, sorry.
It was 20, our last 20 games, we lost 17 of them and we won 3. And some of those wins were pretty evenly placed. So it was a large loss streak of I think like 11 losses at the end.
Yeah,
just in
like
a fucking row.
It was horrible, and it made me really contemplate killing myself.
Oh yeah, it's bad. I was trying to get randoms in our games to talk me down from jumping out of my window every time it became clear that we were gonna lose.
Because we've never been on a loss streak like that before. That was something new.
I'm gonna close the window so that when I jump through it, I have to shove my head through the glass for maximum pain and maiming, and then I'm really gonna aim for like the gravel. You know, if we lose another like 10 games in a row, woo! It's gonna the sweet kiss of that glass, baby.
So unfortunately, where my window is placed, if I jump out it, I just I'm on the ground floor.
Yeah, you gotta do it a couple times.
But luckily, there's still glass, and I'll just roll around in it until I die of blood loss. So, yeah.
Just like Tarkov.
Just like Tarkov. But the streak has been broken right before we recorded here. Me and Brent had a game, and we won. Thank God.
A game we probably should not have won, but
doesn't matter, Brent. Doesn't matter.
Yep, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. A win is a win. So that was basically my week. Very special.
Cool, I'll go. Mine's pretty simple. I also played Dota. I'll just get that out of the way real quick because everything he just talked about is applicable to me, so I really don't have to fucking go into it. I also picked Tarkov back up a couple weeks ago. That's not super exciting to talk about either. It's Tarkov, but I've kind of been getting back into it. I sort of haven't been playing like Valorant a whole lot the last week or so just because of Tarkov. Because that fucking Tarkov, man, it's like you get one little sniff of it, you know, like one little crack snort, just right up my fucking nose, and it's like I'm right back in the ruble game. You know, I'm rummaging through duffel bags. I'm trying to find the rubles, man. Every ruble, I need it, and it's like once I get that little taste, I'm trapped in Russia and I'm trying to escape. I think the more interesting thing is that as a result of this Steam summer sale, I picked up Killer Instinct on Steam. which it frustrates me to no end that none of you guys are doing it because it's only $10 and it's a really good fighting game. But that's fine. Matt got it, and 2 nights ago, I don't think I've done this in. I don't think I've done this in a very long time, but I played. So when we got off, I think I had like 7 hours played on KI. So we were just grinding matches in a lobby, and my thumb hurt. It still hurts to this day from fucking 2 nights ago, just because I haven't spammed a fucking fighting game in that way for quite some time. Killer Instinct is exactly how I remember it. It is one of the best fighting games I've ever played. Criminally fucking underrated. And it's only $10. So anyone who's listening to this that gives a shit about fighting games, you should absolutely get it. Anthony, you should fucking get it. You should get Killer Instinct, and then you should sit in a lobby with me and Matthew, and you should play. $10, you get the whole roster, all the stages, every character from all 3 seasons, plus the 2 they released afterwards. It's a fantastic deal. You get the cool Shadow Lords single player mode, which is basically like XCOM but in a fighting game. It's really tight, man. It's a good fucking deal, and it's really fun. That's all I'm saying.
Not that into fighting games, dude.
Right. Your exact word. Can I blow you up real quick? Your exact words to me were, "I'm not gonna. Why would I want to play it when you're just gonna kick the shit out of me or something like that
Well,
the
yes,
entire time?"
But
Which
I
is
also,
a horseshit.
I also just don't
hate
like.
that.
I'm
I
not
hate
that
that
into
statement.
fighting games.
I hate that bullshit. You've
I
played them.
played DBZ, but that was because it was like a Dragon Ball Z game, and you
Right.
saw how fast I dropped that shit.
Right. But you only dropped it because you didn't stick with it to get good. That's the problem. It's the only reason
a
I
fighting
dropped
game
it.
person.
That's fine. I'm fine if you just don't like fighting games. I know, but the thing that frustrates me is I know that your brother has tried them before and has played them with me, and he just doesn't want to get KI because he's convinced that he'll be shit, and I'll just stomp on him for fucking.
All right.
Play.
The only fighting
Yes,
game I was ever
that's
decent
part
at
of it.
was the Naruto one.
Yeah, that's part of it. But here's the thing, too. I also don't have the drive nor desire to want to get good at them because I don't necessarily have that much fun with them.
Oh, and Smash, and that's because mostly that was more about timing than it was about half quarter circle combos.
I mean, that's a shame, you know, that you don't have fun with them. I still feel like that's can't be true because you bought Dragon Ball and you used to play it with me and Sean all the time, and we used to play Guilty Gear all the time.
Well, I was never that
Roll around.
Guilty Gear. I mean, I like Guilty Gear, but like I didn't have the new one. I only played it when we would like meet up and play it.
Was that with Jacko in it?
Yes.
Yes, that fucking cankerous whore.
It's a giant butt.
Yeah, whenever you guys had me play, I just played Jacko, and I just made everyone hate me a little bit.
I'm of the opinion that you do like fighting games more than you realize that you do, and I think that if you actually sat down with it and you put a little bit of time in just to learn a couple things, you would have fun with it. If you could compete with me or Matt or whatever, I think you'd enjoy it. You would understand the intensity of your average match of KI or equivalent fighting game, and I think you would get into it. Once you're playing it with an understanding of the mechanics, I think you'd be having fun. That's all I'm saying. And on the flip side, I know for a fact that Anthony does enjoy playing fighting games, so big recommendation, $10, Killer Instinct, gets you everything. It's fucking awesome. Me and Matt have been playing it. We're probably going to continue to play it. It's literally one of the best fighting games I've ever played. I think it's criminally fucking underrated. I think that game has some of the best mechanics I've ever experienced in a fighting game, period. And I love it. And I intend to play it more. I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk about with my week, but I honestly can't. Oh, I started playing Doom last night.
But you had Doom.
Yeah, I've had Doom 2016. I've had Doom 2016 for a very long time. I think I got it. I want to say I got it like the summer sale, the Steam summer sale after the game had even come out. So maybe back in like 2016. I don't remember if it came out before Steam summer sale 2017 or not. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But that's when I got it because they put it on sale almost immediately. And then I did my typical thing where I turned it on, I played it for like an hour or two, and then I dropped it for some other shit. But I picked up Eternal So I really want to play. I really want to finish 2016 so that I can play Doom Eternal. So I've kind of started doing that as of yesterday. So my big dumb Mass Effect replay, I think, is going to be put on hold until I finish Doom 2016. And that's pretty much me.
I did a lot of stuff the past 2 weeks. I've been playing Feudal Alloy, which is Metroidvania. It's very indie, like it lacks a whole lot of polish. It's a little aggravating because of that, but I like the art style. And it's very
Is that
easy.
correct me if I'm wrong, is that I think I looked it up when you told me about it. Is that the game with the like fish people, the
Yep.
fish knights?
Yep.
Okay.
You have you're like a shitty robot that is being piloted by a fish in a fishbowl, and all of the enemies are too. I've recently gotten to the area where it's instead of fish swimming around in fish bowls, it's hamsters and hamster wheels. So, cutting edge technology here. The other game that I've been playing is Get to the Orange Door, which is very, very fun. There's not much to it because it hasn't officially launched yet, even though it's coming out for the Xbox. But essentially, the loop of that game is you either play the one level they made, or there's random generated from tile sets, which are in like hexagons, and you start at one end and then you have to get to the other end, which is the titular orange door. Combo multiplier point-based system. You're just blowing up people with a really good soundtrack, and then you use those points to go to a gun vending machine. You could have up to 2 guns and then 1 piece of equipment. The equipments are in chests throughout either the levels or the spawn area, where you go to between each level. And because the guns are random, there are some that are kind of underwhelming, and then there are some that are just really awesome. Like the compact SMG is my favorite gun in the game, and I think I've gotten it twice, and it really annoys me. And every time you complete a level, you unlock a new card, which is your starting weapon and equipment. There's a weird thing in the game that I think it's leftover code from a earlier design, is that when you're in the in-between levels, you can hold R to jump right to the point that starts the level. But if you hold R before the level loads, you just eat your gun. Like there's literally
What?
there's an animation where your character like lifts the gun up, and then there's some munching sounds, and then you just don't have a gun anymore.
Oh, I thought you were making like a I kill myself
No,
joke.
you
But you literally mean
you literally eat your gun, and then you don't have a gun,
what?
and you get some points, and that's
Okay.
it. And that's the
Oh, you
only
get
time.
point? Is it like a challenge thing?
No, that's the only
Like,
time you can do it, is before the level loads. Because if you hold R any other point in the game, you just reload your gun. It has nothing to do, like, it's just some old ass code that is in there from whatever the hell build of the game. Because it's only in the between the levels, and it's only when you before the level's loaded. Otherwise, you just warp to the point and start the level. Like, it is the weirdest little thing that I found. I started to do a recording of it, and of course that recording was when like the game bugged out the most for me, but I lost that footage, so oh well. Besides that, I watched a lot of stuff. I watched Nezha, which is China's biggest animated movie, so I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And it's just a DreamWorks kids film. It kind of sucks. I watched all of whatchamacallit, Tiger King, because Sean turned me
all
on
of
to it.
Tiger
God.
King?
Wow.
Yeah,
Bro, I want to watch Tiger King, but I haven't gotten around to it
I
yet.
am in the same boat. I want to watch it, but have not done it yet.
It's exactly what you've heard. It's
It's just a bunch of low life owning tigers and being assholes,
it's
right? Nine
it,
times out of 10.
yeah, it's insane because the main reason the main enjoyment I got out of it is it's set up very well, like from even an editing and like stuff standpoint, is that they introduce the characters, and then like the most endearing part for me is that some of them would say something that is like completely insane, and then just keep going on, like and then there's like one or two times where they say something that's like, and I mean completely insane from like a philosophical point. Like one of the guys was like a drug cartel dude, like legitimately, and he just misses the point so closely, like it was like he was getting close to a realization that he's a scumbag, but then it just barely missed the mark. And then
On the
there's
verge
other
of an epiphany.
that there's and this is paraphrasing, but then there's stuff, and you even hear the interviewer get in on it, where it's like, and yeah, it's like Dan's crazy sex cult, and then the interviewer's like, what? And then you can tell he goes back to everyone he's interviewed, like time has passed, and then he's just asking them, it's like, what's up with the sex cult thing? And then everyone's like, oh yeah, he has a sex cult. That's what's going on. And it's like, it's pretty nuts. It's legitimately insane, and it's probably the one piece of media that I've watched where there was no good guy. Like everyone
Yeah.
comes off as like the biggest scumbag, and it's weird how many through lines there are even like amongst them. Like all of them are like crazy in the exact same way, which is interesting. Beyond that, what else did I watch? And what else did I watch? I watched Code 8, which is a Netflix film. It's X-Men basically. It's X-Men versus robots, but instead of like Sentinels, they're like District 9 robots. That was pretty good. It was like seedy underbelly type stuff, and personal growth type arc of this like young X-Men-ish kid. It wasn't great. It lacked polish and length. They're like some characters die and you're supposed to feel for them, but you don't because they were in like two scenes beforehand, and stuff like that. But it was very competently made. Very good acting, good set design. The robots were cool. I like robots. All that kind of stuff, and it was okay. I recommend to watch if you have some time. I watched the Altered Carbon animated movie, which apparently takes place after the second season that I didn't know existed.
I didn't know that either. That's
So,
that you watched that. Please don't spoils me.
well, I will tell you this: that the second season,
No.
the animated short is terrible, and you shouldn't watch it. It's
Yeah, I
very,
mean, I knew that. I probably was gonna
very
watch it
bad.
anyway because I didn't hear any good things about it, so I just kind of assumed.
It looked good. It was very well animated. I like the kind of new direction that like the cell shaded CG anime is going, because the primary anime I consume is like mecha anime, and to make that cheaper, a lot of them have been going CG, and a lot of them look really, really, really bad. Like there's only a couple that are the exceptions, like Majestic Princes and shit. But this, yeah, it looks great. It's just the writing is terrible, and it was a very surreal experience because I used to watch a lot of kung fu films on Netflix, so I just have it default that the subtitles are always on the bottom if it's a foreign film. But this was dubbed in English, so I was listening to English voice acting while reading the English dubs, and they were like two different movies at the same time. So
Strange.
yeah, I don't know what made what translation team to, probably because you have to do the lip syncing a little bit, but um, the voice acting was fine, but the actual lines being said were nowhere near as good as the subtitled dialogue, so that was very a surreal experience. And then I started watching Altered Carbon Season 2 and got very pissed at myself that I spoiled some big fucking reveals, because Altered Carbon Season 2 is looking like it's going to be very good. I'm only
It's
like
good. I've only
I'm
yeah.
on
How
like
many?
the third episode.
Okay, yeah, I've only watched the first two, and then
Well,
I
there
kind
you
of
go.
took a break. So
It doesn't seem as good as the first Altered Carbon, but it
yeah,
does seem good.
I can. It feels unfair to make that judgment right now when I've only watched the first two episodes. But as of the first episodes, like, yeah, it doesn't feel like as interesting right from the get-go as the first season was, but that might just be because the first season did so much work in those first few episodes of like explaining the setting to you and all that shit, and like the
Yeah.
second season just doesn't do any of that for the most part. So it feels like much more of like a cold open, I guess, in comparison.
Yeah, I gotta definitely take the time to watch that. And beyond that, I mean, that's the stuff that I've done. But Steam Summer Sale happened, and I bought a shit ton of games. So I'm looking forward to actually putting in time to play them, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
That's some KI, dude.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick up KI. I
Just
don't
down
know. KI I bounced off of
Listen.
KI. I don't like the combo breaker mechanic.
Listen, Team Summer Sale is
That's
up.
shocking.
It doesn't look like it's ever going to be cheaper than what it currently is. Bigfoot.
Anthony, so help me God, if you buy Bigfoot before you buy KI, I'm gonna fucking come over there. I'm gonna rip your fucking computer
No, he's
out
not.
of
I would
Fuck
allow
him.
you.
You ain't doing shit.
I would allow you to
You're
do
not
that.
Too afraid of
Don't-
COVID.
But
it's
just
a friendly rip out of the wall for your own good. Anyway, news.
Yeah. First thing on the docket was the Blood Rain.
Yeah, I know nothing about that, so
Yeah,
someone else.
I'm not a big. This wasn't mine, so I don't know anything. Who put this one up here?
I think it was Brandon. I think
Was it me?
I think it's
It was,
simple.
wasn't
We could all say the same thing. Is I don't know how well they're gonna do it in this current climate, because that was a sexy game for Coomers, and I don't know if they're gonna do that again.
Oh wow, it was me. I guess I posted and I just didn't read the article because I didn't care enough.
Wow. Quality content here. How much he
Cares
cares.
so much.
He gives shit to Rich about caring about the stream. Yeah, he doesn't bother to look up.
I'm not playing a game right now, Rob. At least I just didn't read an
Whoa.
article.
Whoa.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm just not
don't
gonna
bring me into this. This is about you.
Sure, but I'm reading it right now.
We're bringing it to you live, folks.
Publisher Ziggurat Interactive has purchased the license from the former owner Majesco and is working with the original developers of the series to improve the PC versions of the game.
Huh.
Wow,
All right.
that's interesting. Are they talking about like the OG? Like Blood Rain? I wasn't even aware that that was on PC. Is that on Steam right now?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Is it really?
Yeah. So I guess someone else has the rights to it and they're actually going to like patch this and make it run well on modern systems, I suppose, and they might
Nice.
make a new game. Yeah, it's really interesting. I don't know what that game is going to look like or if it's even going to be good, but it's kind of insane to think that Blood Rain isn't dead. Give me that good suck.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's basically what the game was about. Is like you wear all the
Suck.
leather and suck the men who are also wearing all the leather, and then make a couple of very bad movies. But that was
Nazi
okay.
men. Was there Nazis in the first game?
Yeah,
you
it
were
was
fighting?
Nazis.
Give them the suck.
Don't suck Nazis. Kill the Nazis.
Well, you do kill them by
You
By
kill
sucking
them
them.
via the suck.
Interesting.
death suck. She's a vampire, Rob. Death suck.
Death suck.
A very sensual death suck.
Song name.
That's what I was trying to bait for the entire time. I was like, come on, someone. It worked out in the end. All
Very
right,
sensual death suck. There we go.
there we go.
It's on the list.
If there
All right,
isn't-
whatever. That was
one
easy. and
quick. Thing I'm actually kind of hyped for. I didn't post it, but I'm glad. Pokemon Snap. And
I also know nothing about this, so someone hit me up.
Anthony posted this one. I'm pretty sure.
Pokemon.
Yeah,
Snap.
they're actually making a new Pokemon Snap. Can you believe it?
I Yes, I can because Pokemon's super popular and they can do just about anything with Pokemon and it will sell.
Yeah, they could get away with anything. For example, a very terrible Switch game, and then charge DLCs for things that they said they couldn't do.
I can't read the article about Pokemon Snap because it wants me to turn off my ad block, and that's not happening.
Pokemon Snap is you're just a guy going around taking pictures of Pokemon.
It was weird. They tried to incorporate it. I remember in Sun and Moon, there were like areas where you could just
Yeah, a little bit of
like
it. They tried to incorporate.
Instagram Pokemon. It was more
Yeah,
like,
Instagramming it.
but it wasn't nearly as good because there was like one, and they only had like those 4 set areas. So, you know what the craziest thing about this is? This will be the first rail shooter in probably 10 years to come out because rail shooters have been dead for that long.
But it's Pokemon, so it will fucking sell.
We have I can't read the article, so do we know anything about it? Like, is it gonna play like old school Pokemon Snap, or is it gonna be something different? What's the deal?
Well, being that they've been fucking up everything, it'll probably be a visual novel. The article doesn't really say because it was just kind of announced. I mean, the gameplay footage they showed, well, not that it was gameplay footage, but you know what I mean. The trailer concept is it looked like the OG, but who knows?
That could be cool.
Especially with
Like
new
a little
graphics.
relaxation game.
With increased graphics, it's going to be beautiful, probably.
I'll be curious to see if it plays like OG Snap, like a rail shooter or whatever.
It's probably, regardless, it's going to be beautiful. Nintendo make it beautiful.
And regardless, I probably won't be able to play it because it's going to be on systems I'm not going to own.
Also true.
I don't know.
Never say never.
If I'm gonna buy a console, it'll probably be a Switch, just because it's like everything else.
Only because I can't play that shit anywhere else.
Yeah, everything else comes to PC. I'll just play it there.
Yeah. One thing Nintendo's got over me is that if I ever want to play their shit, I've got to buy their consoles because they're never going to let me play that shit anywhere else.
Oh, you know what? Actually, this isn't on the docket, but it's kind of related. Is that Nintendo's kind of shutting down their mobile division because Animal Crossing blew up and half of their mobile things did not.
Yeah, I can see that.
They announced a MOBA. It's called Pokemon Unity, isn't it, Richie?
Yep.
I know we've talked about that.
I have not heard of this.
Yeah, dude. It's
I told you about this, Rob.
I feel like it left my brain.
Pokemon Unite.
My
there you
brain
go.
might have actually just made it leave for.
Yeah, it's Pokemon MOBA. Like it's very like Heroes of the Stormy, I believe.
Oh shit! Now, oh god,
And
I'm remembering now.
and also like I think at like certain levels, depending on the character, like you evolve based on levels. I don't know.
Ah shit! Now
But-
I'm remembering that. Yeah, they have the fucking money and the programs to do that because they had Pokken tournaments and shit, which was just fighting Pokemon.
What an interesting market to attempt to get into with the Pokemon license. Kind of taken aback by it, like why a MOBA? I mean, I think most people were kind of taken aback by it, judging by the massive dislike ratio on the announcement on YouTube. But it's
Well,
like,
Pokemon,
why?
They can do anything.
Yeah, but it's just weird. Like you hype everyone up about a new Pokemon announcement, and then
You do this.
was anyone shocked at the fact that everyone hated it when it was like, it's a MOBA?
I'm not surprised.
Weird.
I'm not necessarily holding my breath thinking it's going to be fantastic, but I don't think it's going to be garbage.
I mean, I'll watch videos of it. I doubt I'll play it.
It's probably not going to be great. I believe the team behind it made. I watched a video where someone had said that the team that's behind this game made some other horse shit, like mobile MOBAs that aren't great. So there's a possibility that this game is just going to be kind of throwaway garbage, or when it comes out, we'll be looking at Dota 2, League of Legends, and Pokemon Unite as the highest grossing MOBAs. Something tells me that's not going to happen.
I would
but
laugh my
God.
ass off. I would legit laugh my ass off.
It won't. You won't be
Yeah.
laughing. Trust me.
I might be laughing just for a different reason.
Something tells me that's not going to be the case. Something tells me it's going to be a very hollow, kind of like light on mechanics, arcadey, fighty MOBA with a Pokemon skin and theme on it.
And people in Japan will love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
that's probably going to be the only thing that keeps the game afloat are the Japanese.
But God, all that makes me think of is the next Digimon game because Pokemon and Digimon are fucking so similar. I want it so bad. It's coming out sometime this year. Still hasn't been announced what time this year though.
As we got closer and closer to the podcast, and I realized that no one was posting news, I was like, "Fuck!" And I started spastically looking for news, and I didn't read every article.
Speculation. We finally know what Rockstar, and then the article. And I gotta click on it. God damn it.
Oh yeah, supposedly.
Oh, yeah,
it's,
that's right.
Batman adjacent.
Yeah, they're making like a Suicide Squad game apparently.
Oh god.
Rocksteady. They
Oh,
registered some
God,
kind of
that's
domain
really
name.
bad. Probably gonna be really bad.
I mean, it's Rocksteady though.
True.
Like
Yeah,
we can
it's-
all be here and be like, haha, the Suicide Squad movie was bad, therefore game must be bad. And it's like that's not really the case. We know
Yeah.
Rocksteady makes good games, so
Let's
it
see.
could be
I'm reading
decent.
this right now. Scribes, Suicide Squad will know and try to kill members of the Justice League. The three Suicide members that are most prominent are Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and Deadshot. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, where's the fucking Captain Boomerang fucking representation? This is bullshit.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Where's the God? I can't even fucking remember his name. Where's the fire guy?
No one gives a shit about the dude that chucks boomerangs.
What happened to my favorite character? The fire guy, says Robbie.
I didn't think
The fireman.
I in no way said he was my favorite. Do not put words in my mouth, sir.
Memorable super villain anti-hero fire guy.
His name
Yeah.
Diablo or something like that.
Yes.
Hey, I fucking remembered.
No.
I never even watched that movie, so I couldn't have told you.
Another year.
I'm now
What's
aware
next?
it has a fire guy.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion, seeing as you didn't see the movie, that it is not great, but there were parts of it that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I've seen
I
clips of it.
feel
I like
really
all the
bad.
parts. I've seen clips of it. I like the parts. I haven't seen the movie, as I just said, but I've seen many clips of it on YouTube, and I only like the parts where I get to see Margot Robbie's butt. And that's about it. Everything else is kind of eh, but I can take that.
What makes me really sad about this movie is that movie was the underwhelming use of Killer Croc.
Shame.
It is an absolute shame because I actually do love Killer Croc.
I don't know. I understand the reason behind his design. I wish he was more like freakish though.
Yeah, he's very light on the croc.
Yes.
I understand it was like, well, one probably for like budget reasons and shit, but and like believability, quote unquote, which is kind of silly seeing as like Superman and everything is still in that franchise.
And as well as you had a guy who turned into a giant fucking like Mayan fire demon.
Yeah, and then like, you know, Doomsday and shit has been like portrayed, but I don't know. I really liked Killer Croc's design in the Arkham games. I thought it was really cool.
Well, isn't that typically how he looks, though?
Well, I'm double checking. I'm legit looking him up in the comics right now to see which one was more authentic.
I mean, I always thought 9 times out of 10 in the comics he was kind of a large, freakish crocodile man.
Yeah,
More
normally the
hulkish
large,
than-
freakish crocodile man. Sometimes he's more gator facey. Other times he's more human face.
All right, but still, he was usually big
Yeah.
and spooky. At least I thought so. I don't know.
Unless you go to like his first comic drawn, where he kind of looks just like a straight up lizard man, which they kind of did. but then they immediately ditched the idea to go for something a little more jacked.
Alright, well, whatever. They're making a Suicide Squad game. What do we want to talk about next?
Let's see what we got. The Baldur's Gate 3 freaking video, which
Yeah, I did
tilted
not watch
Richie-
that.
Tilted Richie a little bit.
Tilted him.
Yeah, it tilted me a bit.
Elaborate.
Oh, is this the fucking thing that we kind of had a little
Yeah.
conversation about?
So
Messages.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't
the
understand your tilt
yeah,
test.
the Baldur's Gate 3 put out like a little trailer or whatever, and obviously it was meant to like build up hype. And it was cool, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the whole like deal with the devil thing because I've always liked that part of like warlocks and all that shit. And then at the end, it was like August 2020, and that was supposed to,
Early
signify
access.
the early access release date. And then right below August 2020. It pauses for a bit, just saying August 2020, and then it fades in, maybe. And that infuriates me. I think that's so fucking stupid.
I'm confused as to why it infuriates you. Please elaborate.
I find it
Because
tricky.
why? What was the point? What was the point of making this and then putting up a maybe on the end of it?
Why is it that big of a deal, though? Like,
Because
you're acting like
alright,
this is new.
so like, to me, this is my opinion, they could have put out the trailer and not thrown that little bit at the end at all for any type of date. The fact that they put a date on the end now has my expectation of that date. And then the slapping of maybe on it is like, wow, I'm excited for this date to see if it comes out. I hope it doesn't come out. But if that maybe part results in no, it doesn't come out, now I am disappointed. If I didn't have that date placed in my head, I wouldn't feel anything about it.
I'm not gonna lie to you, friend. I'm very unsympathetic because to me it's like
I
it's not
kind
that big of a deal.
I kind of get
By
it
the same,
because
I really
like,
don't.
They could
Because
have
by the
just
same
not
logic,
done
it's
anything,
like,
and I would go
well,
on
should we
like it's
be-
normal.
Like if you're
hold
not
on. So should we?
super set on the date, like whether because you may not be able to make it or whatever reason, like why even show the date in the first place?
Yeah,
But right. But that's the point of them showing it is that they're aiming for it. So we know they're aiming for it. So maybe
then
they
when
make
they
it,
don't
maybe
make
they
it,
don't.
I'm pissed
But why would you be pissed? Like I'm
because
not
they
gonna be
put
pissed
that
if they
date.
don't
I
make
don't
it.
know. I would be pissed because like they put out that
Should
date.
I be pissed about the fact that like Cyberpunk has pushed its release date back like 3 times? It's the same thing. When a game gives me
I
a
mean,
release date and then
I'm
they
not
go, well, we
saying-
can't make it because we're gonna do bugs and stuff. It's like, all right, I get that. That's fine.
I'm not
Do I
necessarily saying
gird
you
my
should
loins and
be
tighten my anus?
pissed.
Maybe.
I'm not saying you should be pissed, but for me, again, this is me personally. I get a little butt mad at it because it's like,
Richie's being release cucked.
yeah, it's like,
So
all right,
it's
you know what? Especially in this case, this isn't pushing back of a release date. Like, oh, we had problems pop up. We got to push back the date. This is saying they're like, here's our date we plan to release. You might not get it.
It's the same
just-
thing though. Don't you think that when like CD Projekt Red puts out a release date for something like Cyberpunk, that behind the scenes they don't already know that they might push it back to those delayed dates? They didn't just come up with that shit on the day that you hear about it. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, let's tell them all that this is when it's going to come out. And if we can't reach that because of bug testing or the Rona that popped up, then we'll push it back to this date. But we're not going to tell them that yet. And then when they finally figure that out, they go, all right, now we'll tell them that it's actually coming out in September. Now we'll tell them it's actually coming out in November. And they already knew that before we did. You know, it's the same thing here, except it's just literally the exact same situation. They're just like, we want it to come. If anything, they're being even more transparent with you, which I think you should view as a positive. They're not being like, yes, it's definitely coming out in August. They're like, it's coming out in August, but we might not make it, so temper your expectations. As opposed to another company being like, it's definitely coming, and then not telling you shit about like a possible delay. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see, but this isn't how I feel about it. I just,
All right, I
hate-
literally can't comprehend.
I just hate
your
He's
that
anger.
they're
laying out
like,
a
here's this
detailed
trailer,
argument.
early access. You're gonna get it August, maybe.
Like, who
Okay.
cares? Like, I don't give a shit if it gets delayed. If it means the game's better when it comes out, that's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna buy it anyway when it comes out in early access because I think it's fucking
Well,
weird.
no, like I'm not
But,
saying that
like-
any type of delay is a bad thing. I'm just saying that like the way they did it, I don't know, it just infuriated me.
You
Because-
realize, like, here's another argument, right? I know I just equated it to a AAA release. Okay, so let's pull it back a little bit and equate it to some other shit. Early access games have been doing this for years. Like for years, where they're like, here's the thing, we're making it. We want it to come out in early access at this date, but we might not make it. But they still tell people, like, hey, this is what we're aiming for. And then maybe they don't make it. And then they put out like an update on their Steam store page that's like, hey, we're not going to make it because like it's just not quite there yet. So maybe next month
All
or
right,
the month
here's
after
an
that. Like, this
example.
isn't new.
Yes, I know, but here's an example. So I bring it back to like one of the games I talk about a lot, The Isle, and the game you say was like possibly a scam.
Say that. Put words in my mouth.
But
As you
it back to
do
them.
whenever this comes up.
I bring it back to them where they were redoing the code for their game, and they're like, all right, we're redoing everything. We can't give you a date because all of this shit could pop up, and we're not going to be able to make that date. And see, I have more respect for them because they never ever put out a date.
But that's a completely different situation.
As
Dude.
long as it takes. If we give you a date and we can't meet that date, then it hurts credibility. And maybe
No.
I don't know.
You're equating it to something very different now, because now what we're talking about is a team that literally doesn't even know when it's going to be ready to come out. Larian, however you pronounce it, thinks they're pretty sure that it's going to be good by August. But they're giving you a tentative maybe, because maybe as we close in on that early access release date, someone's going to like peer around from their cubicle and go, this shit's really fucked up. And then they're going to be like, okay, well, actually we need till October or whatever. But they're aiming for, and they believe that they can do it by August. So what's the harm in telling you that? Like, they're not lying to you. They're like, yeah, it's probably
like
going to come out in August.
It's a weird psychological thing of now that date is in my head, and if it's not that date, then I'm angry.
But just don't get excited about it. Like, first of all, the game's in early access in the first place. So if you buy it in August, the second it comes out, you're not even getting the complete thing. Granted, they've been like, oh yeah, it's a lot. It's going to be equivalent to like what's in Divinity on launch. That's cool, but I don't care. The point is it's coming out in early access, so it's going to be missing shit right from the jump. So right away, it's like, just temper your expectations. Like, even if it gets pushed back, just don't get like that.
I'm not
excited
sitting here
about it.
like. I mean, of course I'm gonna get excited about it. I think the game looks cool from what they show. I'm excited for the game. Of course I'm gonna be excited about it. It being feature complete has nothing to do with it. Of course it's early access, but just that date, man, it just rubs me the wrong way. And then that cheeky way of like, maybe, I don't know, it's just made me so mad.
Maybe for me it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just more accepting of developers doing this because they've been doing it for years. Like, I've seen this time and time again where early access devs are like, listen, this is the month, and then maybe they hit it or they don't. Like, this isn't new to me. So I guess maybe the anger over it is kind of shocking to me and like hard to understand. I'm also maybe a little biased because as cool as I think this game looks, and as much as cool as I think Divinity 2 was, like, I don't intend to buy this game in early access because I don't see why I'd want to play it until they put out everything. But that's just me. So like, maybe I'm a little biased in the sense that I don't care if it hits the August release date or not. But even if I did care, I still can't really fathom the anger. It's just, that's just me. I just don't get it. It's like they're giving you a date. They're giving you a date where they're pretty sure it's going to come out, and if they don't hit it, they're just being honest with you. Like, listen, there might be shit that comes up and we don't hit it. And developers have been doing this forever, so it's like I don't really get it. But that's just me.
I think it's the same thing could have been achieved even without the maybe. If you put out that date, you're aiming for it, and then if they miss it, they make a release and go, hey, we miss it.
If anything, I think it's better with the maybe. At least they're being honest. They're like, hey, we might not make it. Okay, thank you for telling me that. If they were like, it's definitely coming out in August, and then they were like, sorry, November, actually, then it's like, all right. But the maybe is like, at least they're warning you, you know, hey, might not hit that date. I think that's nice of them to give you a maybe as opposed to absolutely telling you when you're going to have it in your hands.
But fuck them, Brandon. That's what I say.
All right.
I just saying
I mean, I'm still gonna
understand.
give them money, but you know,
He's just gonna angrily give him
it
money.
pissed me off. That's all I'm saying.
I'll give them money when it comes out. Fucking 1.0. That's when they'll get my money. What's next?
Let's see.
Night City Wire? We want to talk about Cyberpunk real quick? I also don't know a lot
Yeah.
about the... Fuck it, let's talk about Cyberpunk. Did anybody here other than me and Anthony watch Night City Wire?
I have not.
I have not.
All right.
Watch
Hit
our
me up.
video of us
Inform
watching
me.
Night City Wire.
Yeah, put down to plug that.
I mean, honestly, the main thing about it, more has come out around it. I don't know. Talking
Yeah,
about
there's been
it
like
is-
other gameplay snippets
yeah, because
that weren't even in Night City Wire because they
Yes.
lifted the embargo and shit.
Yeah, apparently there's an early version that was sent to influencers and journalists and stuff, so
Yeah.
they have gameplay on. So that technically isn't part of Night City Wire. All Night City Wire really was there's a new trailer which you can watch. There's brain dancing tutorial was shown, which is basically I compared it to kind of the VHSs in Resident Evil 7, where it's Cyberpunk. So you play a chip of a person doing an event, and you can kind of like third person it and inspect the environment and fast forward, rewind, analyze things within the environment. It'll probably serve a narrative purpose, and they also mentioned
yeah.
that it'll be used to kind of solve at least one quest, I imagine, if they're putting it in here.
I was a little bit more of the opinion as we were watching it that it's not quite like the tapes from RE7 because in my opinion, I think they're all going to be like what we saw. I don't think you're going to play them. I think it's going to be watch a scene
fixed.
unfold from whatever angle you want and then scan stuff and it'll tell you a little story about like a denizen of the world via that method, which is cool.
And
I
that
guess.
was essentially the main stuff within Night City.
They showed a
Wire.
lot of gameplay from in Night City Wire. They showed a lot of gameplay at the intro, or what we assume is like the first few hours of the game, where you meet the guy
they
and you walk
mentioned
around, and you do stuff.
All the footage was from the intro, and it looked like a lot of
Yeah.
crazy shit was happening.
The game looks cool. I think the most honestly, like you kind of said, Night City Wire wasn't too complex. We saw the brain dance stuff. We saw snippets of gameplay from those first like opening hours of the game. We got to see the like outskirts of the city and
Yeah,
like
what did
the
they call
kind
it?
of
The Badlands.
something like that. But it's very interesting because now we know that the game kind of has two environments that are very at odds with each other, where like you'll be in the city doing the very urban area kind of shit, and then you can go out and suddenly you're in Mad Max and you're like driving around in the desert on the outskirts of Night City and shit. Like that was cool to see.
Brandon, do you even want to hear about some of the stuff that like the previews have kind of revealed?
No, if it's spoilery, no, I don't. But I have seen reviews say non-spoilery things, which I find kind of interesting. Like some reviewers have been quoted as saying that the game is overwhelming, which has the opposite reaction for me that I think it might have for some people. It kind of gets me excited because overwhelming tells me that some reviewer got a little overwhelmed by the mechanics and the amount of content. And to me, I'm like, that's what I want. I want that big shit. I want a lot of stuff to do. I want to get fucking overwhelmed.
The only things that I took away from it, at least from side channel stuff, is that apparently it's doing a Dragon Age Origins kind of thing, where you kind of pick your origin, and then there's
That's cool.
quests related to that. Supposedly it even changes up or influences not just dialogue, but even what your character's goals might be. So your ending may be partially influenced by your origin, because a corpo guy is doing different things than the street kid guy, and they have different goals.
That's cool.
And I heard that Melee is kind of trash.
That's unfortunate if true. I saw gameplay of like a fist fight,
Mhm.
and it looked kind of jank.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's going to be indicative of melee weapon oriented combat being equally as jank. Like,
Here's
don't
the
know.
thing. Again, there's a level of jank that is within acceptable parameters. Like, games are multifaceted. If it is underwhelming in one areas but overwhelming in others, you could still get a good overall experience. Because I've seen people complain about even the gunplay when I think the gunplay looks fine. Yeah, that fist fighting looked jank, but it looked serviceable. Like, I mean, I still enjoy playing Morrowind, and people are like, that gameplay is terrible, and I'm like,
Oh yeah, that gameplay is rough.
I don't see it. But that again, that's me. It's different strokes for different folks. So I think overall, it's been pretty positive, you know. So
I hope the melee is serviceable. If you think I wasn't going to attempt to make like a melee oriented character in that game and just attempt to play my own Revengeance sequel that Platinum won't give me, you're wrong. I was going to try to do that. But if the melee sucks, then I can't do that.
well, you can do it. It'll just be not as fun.
Yeah, it just won't be as fun, so then I probably won't do it.
The,
But who knows? And then you get into that awkward area, right, where it's like I turn the game on for the first time, and it's like I don't know how early on you'll be able to like spec your character for what you intend to do
Right.
for the rest of the game. But then it's like, what do I do? Do I invest in a melee system that I might start hating when I'm like a quarter of the way through this game because it sucks? You know what I mean? It's a
was there
gamble.
like respec in The Witcher?
I don't know.
Because yeah, that's the biggest thing. Because generally, like stuff like that is no problem if you can respec, but if you can't respec, then it's a huge problem. And we haven't heard any murmurs of a system like that. Though with Cyberpunk being Cyberpunk, I imagine that like yeah, why can't you just get some sort of de-augmenter or whatever it is that like you're set back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Human effigy and get up.
Talking out of our ass, obviously,
Right.
but I would assume that I would hope there's some kind of respec system because in context of the setting, like you said, it would kind of make sense.
Or
If there
even if it
was
doesn't,
one.
you could bullshit it enough that it works.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the three paths that they've shown so far is corporate, nomad, which is again those kind of badlandsy people, and street, which is so yeah, it's like either high Night City, low Night City, slums, or outside of Night City. And they each got their own little like starting armor look, and we'll see where it goes from there.
That's cool. It's a very interesting system that I was I guess like fearful that the game would lock you onto like a narrative path a little bit, what with like the character having a name and clearly having kind of a set intro of sorts that I was like, all right, is this going to be like
three set intros.
Right. So I was afraid that it was going to be like a set narrative where you just make choices to influence it getting from point A to point B, but now apparently you're telling me that it's a little deeper than that. So
No, and again, this is just murmurs and stuff. Also, there's like the character creator it's apparently not sliders or anything. It's presets, so you pick like preset eyes and eyebrows and hair and face structure. And so
I'm fine with that.
No, yeah, I'm fine with that too. And people
that's
like
completely okay.
broke down all the numbers, and apparently there are 2 dicks and one cut, one uncut. That you have a slider for length, and
I get to see the cock, like it's rendered.
Well, there's at least 2. So people were suspecting like maybe just the change was like the bulge changes, but they mentioned that there's 2 different models and a slider. So I'm guessing you're seeing
then I've got to be able to see the cock. That's awesome.
Cock and balls.
What about my vagina? How many vaginas?
There's one vagina, and someone
One?
Wait, someone commented, "Yo, why is there only one vagina, to which CD Projekt Red replied with an article where it's like the 5 types of vagina. So apparently they're working on more vaginas.
Awesome. Someone in the office is modeling vaginas as we speak.
It's someone's job. It
Get
is
hype.
someone's job.
What a thing to get paid for, man.
Yep.
I need my pussy lip slider, bro. Come on.
You could get. Do you want it like tight or roast beefy? What's going
I don't
on?
know. I'll figure it out when I'm there. Like when it's in front of me, I'll model it and I'll make it work, you know.
You want your lips to be longer than your dick? That's disgusting. I'm disgusting.
Yeah, let's not. All right.
Moving on.
Any other comments about Cyberpunk, or are we out?
No, I think we should leave on that last one right there.
Y'all want to talk about the 2-time real quick? I think I'm the only one that gives a shit. So this could be one of those news stories where I just talk about it and none of you comment on it, but it is very interesting.
Sure.
Do we want to talk about the 2-time?
Sure.
All right. So is anyone aware of what I mean when I say the 2-time?
Nope.
Not at all.
Cool. So what I'm talking about is Senor Dr. Disrespect. Are you all
Oh,
aware?
I do know what you're talking about. That.
Hell yeah. The motherfucking 2-time. All right. So I'll be completely honest. I follow Twitch stuff a little bit. I partake of some streamers, mostly like the Maximilian Dude. I watch Aqua play Tarkov from time to time, and I'm fully willing to admit that I kind of like the doc. I think the doc is cool. I think what he does is interesting. I think he takes streaming in a bit of a unique direction where he's like actually kind of being creative about it and like playing a character and trying to like make you laugh as opposed to just like a dude sitting in front of his computer playing games and like acting up his emotions and shit like that. So I kind of like him. I think I value what he does as a streamer a little bit over some other people. 2 days ago, the 2-time, as he will from now on be referred to, everyone woke up and came to find that the 2-time, who had just signed a 2-year contract deal. This was at the height of the Mixer thing before Mixer died, which we could roll into that after this if we want to. But at the height of the Mixer thing, Twitch was kind of scrambling to sign some people to keep them on Twitch, right? And essentially do the exact same thing Mixer was doing, like give people some contracts, pay them money, and have them be exclusive to Twitch. So they did it with like Timothy the tattoo guy or whatever the fuck, and they did it with the 2-time. The 2-time got a 2-year contract deal with Twitch to stay on Twitch. And this was recently. This was like a few months ago or something like that. I could be a little off on that, but it definitely was within like the last 6 months, I want to say. 2 days ago, people wake up and everyone realizes that Mr. Dr. Disrespect is permanently banned from Twitch. And no one knows why. It's like the great Inspector Gadget mystery of the internet right now at the moment is everyone's trying everyone's trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, because he got permanently banned, and the night before it happened he was streaming, and judging from his stream it seemed like he knew that it was coming. Just from the way
he got like a message on his phone.
Did he? Is that what it was? I know the way he
on his phone, he looked at it, and then he like his demeanor changed, and he like ended his stream. He was like,
okay. Because I knew from the way it ended, he was just like, fuck. And he just like ended the stream, and everyone was like, what was that? And then the next day he was permanently banned from Twitch. The interesting thing is that Twitch isn't telling anybody why. I believe the CEO from Twitch has issued a statement. She tweeted a statement basically just being like, I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, obviously, because I don't have the direct quote right in front of me. You could easily go look it up if you want to. But she said something to the extent of like, you know, we have certain policies in place, and when there is sufficient evidence and we review it for a streamer to be suspended, we're banned from the platform, we will do that. And that's like all she said. So all we know is that something occurred that was worth permanently banning him from Twitch for, and Twitch won't tell anyone why. And the kicker is Dr. Disrespect himself doesn't know either, apparently, because he tweeted either the day after his permanent ban, I think, or the day of, that he was like, I don't know why I'm permanently banned. Thanks for all the support. Twitch isn't telling me either. I'm just permanently banned from the platform. And I tried to look up articles actually before we started recording just to see if it has evolved at all, and I don't believe it has.
No, it
So
hasn't.
still,
The big thing I've seen is that there are people who know. There are people who know, and they're just
so
refusing
okay,
to say anything.
air quotes.
Yeah,
There's
air
people who
quotes.
know. We don't know that for sure. It could be a lot of people just trying to get Twitter followers talking out of their ass, being like, "Yeah, dude, I know why the doc got banned." We don't really know. Like, there's that slasher guy who's like, "Yup, I totally know why he got banned, but I can't tell any of you because I'm not comfortable divulging that information." And there was someone else on Twitter who was like, "Whatever he did was bad enough that he's not just gone from Twitch; he will not be moving to another platform."
Yeah,
But that could all be
it
bullshit.
could all be bullshit.
So we don't know. I find this to be extremely interesting. I'm kind of like fully tinfoil hatted and like it like dug into this because I think it's so fucking weird that it's like a massively popular streamer with a 2-year exclusivity deal gets perma-banned from his platform, and then the company won't tell us why. Like, is that
even
not
just the
fucking
company, but
strange?
like literally no one knows why.
Well,
Because
yeah,
kind of like tangentially
including
related
him
to this,
himself.
like there's been a lot of Twitch bannings and articles for it for
Yes,
sexual assault and like stuff like that, and basically
yeah.
being scum. But like people have come out and said that and said this guy and that guy, and then that's a whole other issue.
Thank you.
None
Thank
of
you
that,
for bringing that up.
none of that has been tied to this. Like,
Yes,
there
thank you
hasn't
for
been
bringing that
one
up.
person.
Thank you for bringing that up because that kind of does
Wow.
tie into this a little bit, where it's like literally the day before his perm, like the Me Too stuff, for anyone even here or anyone listening who isn't aware, has been kind of like hitting esports and streaming a lot the last like week or two, where like a very popular Dota caster lost essentially his fucking career because it turned out that he was like sexually harassing women at like international events and after parties and stuff. So he's gone. We also know about like an entire streamer management company that has been dissolved because upper positions in that company where apparently people were being accused of sexual harassment and stuff. So that's gone. So the day before Dr. Disrespect gets permanently banned, Twitch issues a statement being like, "Yes, we will continue to combat this with suspensions and bans." And then the next day, Dr. Disrespect gets permanently banned. So is it related to that? Is it not? If it is, it's kind of weird that no one's telling us. There's a bit of a tinfoil hat theory going on right now with a lot of people that supposedly the mixer nuke just went off. And so
Which is another story we got to get into.
well, yeah, which is another story we got to get into, but we could roll into that out of this. The mixer nuke went off. Ninja and Shroud out of that job, right? Two very popular streamers. A big tinfoil hat theory that's been going around, someone talked about this somewhere, is that the two time was supposedly going to move to a different platform or start his own platform with those two because they've lost their mixer deal. So a big tinfoil hat theory going on right now is that he got permanently banned because that might be a breach of contract, that he's attempting to set that up. So they permabanned him from Twitch. But that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't buy that theory, because why wouldn't they tell us if that was the case? Kind of strange. There's also, people have pointed out that in one of his streams, there was a little Easter egg thing in the corner where you could see that there was like text that said, "Wait till the 29th." So people are thinking that the 29th is going to be when he announced his partnership with those other two on like a new platform, which could have something to do with his Twitch ban, but who fucking knows? I love it. I'm fully invested. It's like the internet's greatest fucking mystery at the moment. I'm trying to assemble the clues. I'm reading articles. I'm fucking invested. I'm excited.
It's definitely strange.
And I love the two time, to be honest. So if he's gone forever, it will cut me deep.
I wonder
I
if
miss the
we'll
two-time.
literally never find out. I think it's
It's possible,
unlikely,
dude.
but it's possible.
It's possible, but I also agree with you that it's unlikely. I think at some point we'll figure it out. I don't think someone like him, unless it's like seriously bad, like if it's something actually bad, like we're talking like criminal or something, and that's why he got permabanned and is never going to show up on another streaming platform ever again, then it's like, all right, maybe we'll never get a statement. But it's just weird. It's weird to think that we'll never hear anything about it. I assume that we will, at some point, maybe even as early as tomorrow. And who knows when you'll upload this. So by the time this goes up, if you upload it tomorrow, it might be fine. But if it goes up any later, maybe we're talking about old news and we'll have a statement by like tomorrow night or some shit.
Perhaps.
But anyway, I found it very interesting, so I kind of wanted to talk about it on the podcast.
As of Sunday, June 28th, it is still a mystery.
Yep.
8:52 p.m.
It's one of the greatest mysteries on the internet. One of the most popular streamers literally just disappears overnight. Just permaban on his whole fucking account from a website that he has a 2-year exclusivity deal with. Like, what the fuck is going on at Twitch? What's happening? What a time to be alive.
True.
It's probably part of what is happening at Twitch is that all of its competitors are exploding because Mixer no longer exists.
Yeah, that Mixer situation's rough. The thing that no one's talking about, well, some people are talking about it, but a lot of people are like, "Oh wow, Mixer's dead. What happens to Ninja and Shroud now?" And it's like, yeah, that's cool, I guess, but what about all those other little people?
Yeah, it's
that aren't
honestly
those
not
two?
going to impact them that much because
No,
they'll
fuck
either
no.
jump back to Twitch where they have audiences, or they'll go on Facebook and have audiences. But anyone small who is just getting established, they're fucked.
Shroud or Ninja will bounce back from this shit faster than you can fucking imagine, because they're gonna get another $10 million contract to sign with some other platform, or they're gonna do their own thing or whatever, and they're gonna make a fuckload of money, and they'll keep streaming, and people will continue to watch them. It's all the other little people who were like also Mixer partners and shit, where it's like, if you were building an audience on that website, like, good luck. You know, if you were a person who was like happy because you were getting like 200, 300 views or something like that every time you streamed on Mixer, congratulations. You now have to move back to like Twitch or like God forbid, like Facebook gaming or some shit like that. And you have to try to retain that viewership. Good luck. People like Shroud don't give a fuck because they're going to keep their numbers. The Mixer thing is crazy. It's crazy from a financial standpoint to think that Microsoft was like, hey, we want to compete with Twitch. So let's shovel money at these two massive names, try to get people to come to our streaming service, and then for it all to just burn, like literally like that. Like we
Yeah.
just woke up one day and it was like, they're closing it. And it was like, what? A lot of people are saying, because like Shroud himself on one of his streams had said something to the effect of, yeah, we were in talks with Microsoft to do a bunch of stuff. Like we were going to do like public events. We were going to go around and do shit. We were going to try to promote this fucking thing and like really get people paying attention to this platform, paying attention to us. And then the Corona happened and we canceled all of that. So there's some speculation that like maybe that was kind of the downfall of Mixer for the most part, is that like none of their... It's possible that that's what killed it, because like none of their promotional material, like they weren't able to carry out any of it. So once again, a little tinfoil hatty. At the same time, I think it's like really difficult for any company to try to compete with Twitch the way that Mixer was attempting to do it. It was well documented and reported that even with as popular as people like Shroud and the blue-haired man Ninja are, they did not retain their full viewership when they moved to Mixer. Like they were not getting the same numbers that they got on Twitch because people just weren't willing to do that. Like even if they really liked those two, it wasn't enough for them to make the jump to a completely different platform. So I don't know. It's a hard sell. I think it's like a number of things that probably contributed to Mixer getting nuked. Anyone else got opinions on Mixer?
I
Never
didn't.
used it.
So
I'll be honest, I didn't even know it existed. And then
I knew
was
it
done.
existed. I just didn't care
Well, there you
about
go.
it.
It's part of the problem, I suppose.
That is, it's the part of the problem is you just can't beat what's more popular first. Trying to branch off and defeat something that's already established is nigh impossible.
They
I
had a
think you
plan.
could do
It's
it,
just
but
It's hard. It's
yeah.
real fucking hard.
The problem is you can never account for the this is gonna sound really pessimistic and shitty of me, but you can never really account for like the laziness or the willingness of the average person, right? So it's like if you think you can get Mixer to rival Twitch by simply shoveling money at people like Shroud and Ninja and then just going, oh, well, when they jump ship to us, all of their viewers will too. And it's like, no, it doesn't really work like that. You know what I
Not
mean?
quite.
Like, a lot of those people do have an allegiance to those streamers enough to move to Mixer, but I would say a vast majority of them, their allegiance is to Twitch, not to those two personalities. They would rather stay on the platform that those people are on than move to something like Mixer just to watch those people. You know what I mean? Like they'll just go watch someone who stayed on Twitch.
Yeah, it's part of the reason
Not
why it's
really.
like I could see like Facebook streaming and YouTube streaming work better because people are already on the platform, as opposed to make an entirely new platform but get the big
Yeah.
names on it. Like people are very lazy; they'll just keep
You also
going
have
to the
to.
same sites.
There's also other stuff too you have to keep in mind, which is like to Twitch's and Amazon's credit, it's smart business that there's a lot of systems in place to keep people on Twitch, like your Prime subscription and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like anyone who has like Amazon Prime and is actively using that to sub to streamers and is actively using that to get like free content through Twitch and shit, they're not gonna move over to Mixer and just abandon all of that. You know, like I don't get any of my Amazon Prime benefits on some other fucking platform that I have to move to go watch like Shroud or whatever, you know. That's just hard. It's a hard thing to compete with. When you're competing not only with the juggernaut of streaming that is Twitch, but also the juggernaut of streaming that has so many systems in place to lock people into it, to like absorb content on their site. It's just not easy. It's borderline impossible, and it didn't work out. But who knows? Maybe tomorrow when we get the big reveal that the Docs permaban was actually a PR stunt for his new streaming platform with Shroud and Ninja, maybe there will be a competitor for Twitch. Otherwise, if you never come back, rest in peace to two-time. Firm handshakes to the two-time.
Let's see. We have then Melee gets better netcode than Ultimate.
Yep.
Did we talk about this? I feel like you and Brendan talked about it a little bit.
I don't think we did. I think we missed last week, and then I think it got posted somewhere in the last 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure.
All right.
I don't know anything about it though, so it's got to be explained to me.
It's basically a modder made a. He gave rollback netcode to Super Smash Brothers Melee in an online service with like matchmaking. Like he just made it, and it's better than Ultimate in the same room.
Nice.
Which is kind of funny.
So you mean to tell me this is just like an SF5 situation all over again?
Correct.
Where some guy in his basement just literally created better netcode than what a big name company could do with a budget?
Yeah, I think
That's pretty intense.
It's it goes without saying that Melee fans are insane and they will do anything for that game. So this guy was probably working on it for God knows how long.
Like lugging CRTs to tournaments and never bathing. They'll do anything. Get it, smelly Smash players. Haha. Haha. That's hilarious though. Hey, fighting game devs, you're really getting put on blast.
Yeah,
the last like year or two. It's been pretty rough. So maybe do something about your trash netcode. I don't know. Or don't. I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure Capcom will continue to just shovel content in the Street Fighter V and not fix the netcode. At least Arxis is doing it. That's a start. I'm scrolling through our list of content to see if there was. Oh, the Square Enix shit. We should probably talk about that.
Yeah, basically
Any
Square Enix
predictions?
said that they're going to be announcing stuff. Well, I'm probably more than just that one promo shot for the next Final Fantasy game. 16, I think it is. 16.
Yeah. Do
A
you think
lot
we'll
of
actually
people,
see it?
maybe a logo at the very least. A lot of people are
Little
saying
small teaser.
that
A tiny taste.
because of the time and dates, that if any announcements are going to happen, it's probably going to be at the Xbox event because that's within that time frame.
Yeah, that would make sense. I
And
suppose they're not going to do
Xbox,
their own thing. You think
not
they'll
that I've
do it
heard.
at Microsoft?
At least not yet. Not that I've heard.
That'd be interesting. Xbox is soon, right? Mid-July, I think they said. Game Rant article, Xbox July event reportedly later in the month.
Ah, never mind then.
But still, I mean, it's soon. So if Square is saying they're gonna announce shit in July, maybe they will do it at Xbox. That's interesting. I do wonder what it'll be. I wonder if we'll see a snippet of the new Final Fantasy. I wonder if we'll see anything for FF7 Remake Part 2. I feel like that's the big one that people want.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it's too soon for that with how long it took them to make the first part of FF7 Remake. But who knows?
All right.
Out of
like
left
new
field.
IPs and stuff. Square Enix is big. They can make a lot of things.
No, fuck that. You know what I want?
Hmm.
What do you think I'm gonna say?
Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered.
No.
Okay. Oh wait, no, that's
One more
me.
guess.
I don't know. You just go.
Geese 2.
Yeah, there you go.
God bless the ring.
God bless the ring.
No, that was actually a joke. I had a serious answer. Here's what I actually want. Parasite Eve.
Hey,
We
yeah, that's true.
we spoke about a rumor recently. Well, not a rumor actually. It was someone, I can't remember who was working on FF7 remake from Square, saying that they remember, basically acknowledging the Parasite Eve exists and that they would like to do something with it in the future. Once again, probably too soon. I highly doubt they are working on anything Parasite Eve related, but that would be sick. That would be a way to get me fucking excited. Even though it's not going to happen.
Say never.
It's not going to happen. That was like, what was that? Like 3 months ago, 4 months ago when we first talked about that, I think. About the guy acknowledging the existence of Parasite Eve. So like, he wasn't saying that they were working on it then. And I think it's been far too quick between then and now for there to have been anything substantial done on like a theoretical new Parasite Eve, hypothetical new Parasite Eve. So
I don't know.
I
That seems
highly
like enough
doubt it.
time to hammer out a trailer.
Yeah, maybe like a cinematic trailer just to build hype for it if they intend to do something with it. But I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting new Final Fantasy shit, maybe new stuff for the MMO.
Oh yeah, like 5.3 has been delayed like for a long time now.
I wouldn't be shocked if they just do that. This show, maybe we get like an FF16 teaser. Maybe we get MMO content trailer. Maybe we get like a hint of FF7 Remake Part 2. That'll probably be it. I can't think of anything else that they would do. Probably no Geese.
Unless Geese is buried in an unmarked grave being pissed on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But it's got Cloud on the cover, Anthony, and FF7's hot right now.
Oh god.
Cloud's right there, dude.
They did stop Dissidia. Maybe they were like, it's time.
It's not for Geese, bro. Tekken 7. What's that shit? We can get an Evo with a brand new Geese. I'm excited.
Can't wait to play God Hand.
All these memorable characters
He's
from
honestly
Arrogate.
he's the only one I remember, and that was because when you have a guy with tracking projectiles and a clunky 3D fighter, you win with him.
Yeah, I remember more than him. I also remember the weird, like ninja guy with the helmet
Oh yeah.
and the cape. That's about it.
There was Kick Person. There was
God.
Japanese guy whose win video was just him eating noodles on a loop. I will never forget
Nice.
that because it's like it's the most like you do this entire tournament and it was one of those, it was like almost Twisted Metal 2-ish where it's like you win it, you get like ultimate power wish, and I guess he wished for just all the noodles in the world.
Infinite ramen.
Yeah, I guess
A
so.
bowl of infinite ramen.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm looking up characters from Arrogate right now. I've completely forgot how many Final Fantasy characters were in this game.
A lot.
I thought it was just Cloud. There was like a lot. It's like basically like the whole cast of FF7. Cloud, Tifa, Sephiroth,
I remember the
Vincent is in
bullshit
it.
thing about it was that you couldn't even like have them all. Like there was
Wait, really?
unlockable characters, but for whatever reason you only ever unlocked 2 slots. So if you unlocked someone, you'd lose like someone. So like you couldn't have the full roster, I don't think.
Oh my god, that's right. And Arrogate had that weird fucking mode where it was like a dungeon. Remember like the weird adventure mode
Dude,
that was kind
the
of
best
trash?
mode.
It was the best mode.
It was better than the terrible combat. That was a
Yeah,
fun
but
game. You're just killing
it was
monsters.
okay. No, yeah, you're not wrong. It was fun, but I also remember it being really jank. Like even as a kid, I remember playing it and being like, "This isn't amazing." It was a little. It was a little jank,
Oh, I found it.
bro. Where's
Nice.
Arrogate at?
It's
Welcome to the
Bird.
Camel Cast, where we ask for Arrogate.
There, yeah, take a look at that. That's the end cinematic for the game. It's just Japanese man eats noodles, and this guy stretched it out to 15 minutes because it's just a loop. That's it. You win the game. This is what you get.
God, I remember this actually. Now that I'm looking at it. X Square. This game definitely like I even remember from the gameplay of Arrogate, like it was definitely just Square trying to compete with Tekken. Like that's all this game was. It was Square being like, yo, we can do that Tekken shit. We have Final Fantasy characters we can put in there. People love that shit.
People
It'll sell copies. We could fucking. It was kind of like how Parasite Eve 2 was basically Square being like, hey, we could do that Resident Evil shit, and they were just like trying to use their popular properties to compete with other genres and like butt in on them.
Yep.
That's
I
all
feel like
Arrogate
every
was.
developer has a cycle like that eventually, where they're like, let's just do what other person's doing and try to do it better, but usually fail.
Arrogate wasn't like. Arrogate, what? There was no like canon element to Arrogate, right?
No, God, no.
Like there was no like, because like it's got all these FF7 characters in it. It wasn't like some weird side FF7 thing, right? It was just its own thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. So I honestly couldn't remember.
And I think it's the last thing we have on our list here is
Well, someone doesn't want to talk about Arrogate anymore.
No one wants to talk about it. Even me. As I'm talking about it, like there's just part of me where it's like I put so much of my hours of my life wasted.
Oh yeah, me too, dude. I used to play that game all the time. It's garbage. No one play that.
we got a statement from D&D about how they may be changing up how races work in the game and how they don't like how races are right now and how they want to change up how
They don't like how races are right now. Aren't races currently like they've been for ages
Yes.
in D&D forever?
and because and I
Wow,
continued
all
to
right.
read the article, they want to take out due to the current climate, they want to take out racism from the game and from their modules, and they don't like how races seem like they feel like races put too many characters in a set role, so they want to make races more diverse.
Wait, explain to me that first part. Due to the climate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the article, I read the article too when he first posted it. They were basically like, yeah, we don't like to paraphrase it. They were basically like, yeah, we don't really like how like drow are like evil, but they're like dark skinned,
Dark, yeah.
you know? So it's like we're trying to get rid of shit like that.
Listen,
from
I'm
our-
very
our content.
PC, but that's fucking stupid.
I am as well, and I agree with you. I think it's a little
That
fucking
is
dumb.
Yeah, it's
stupid.
very
How
dumb.
They're
racist
dark
people are.
elves.
I have never, ever in my 20-something, I will not confirm my age, but in my 20-something years of life on this planet, I have been consuming D&D content in one way, shape, or form for a very long time. So even as a kid playing like the video games before I ever even knew about like the pen and paper shit. And it's like, I never looked at a drow and was like, oh, they're all evil and their skin's dark, therefore it's black people. Ever. Like that never
Never.
crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Not once. I was
Not
just like, oh yeah,
once.
it's a fantasy setting. The elves, these are just the bad ones. They have like ebony like skin and like whatever. That's just
Like the whole point of fucking like Drist and all that shit is that he's a good guy.
Yeah, so
yeah, but he was
the
like
He's
the
the one good one.
the
Yeah, that's
argument literally the argument fails
You
from
see where this is
literally
going, boys?
it fails from any angle. Like any way you look at it, it doesn't really make sense. Because if it's like, I don't think like anyone who looks at, let's say, orcs and are like, race in real life, like that person.
yeah. I don't.
That person is delusional.
I didn't get that
And-
either.
and-
That was another part of the article I didn't get. They were also like, yeah, and orcs too, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Where?
But
Who's ever looked at an orc and been like, oh yeah, obviously that's supposed to be like the Mexicans? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, it's
I-
kind of
Mexicans, if Mexicans have orc strength, and
I'm
stuff like
joking,
that,
obviously.
I am absolutely terrified.
I'm joking, obviously. I'm just making an
It's-
absurd equation.
joke.
But like,
Jokes.
it's
All
it's
jokes.
because they're tribal, and you know it's kind of like the
but it's like, what are we gonna do? Just get rid of all that from D&D? Like,
well, that's
what's
the whole
what's
thing.
the
That's
deal?
why they're saying they're going to be changing up races and making it less of putting them in set roles, making it less
This is why it's so fucking stupid. Like
That's also
it's a fantasy.
flavor.
It's a fucking fantasy game.
well, yeah, they're getting rid of
Sometimes the
races. They
races
can
are
say
just
anything.
evil.
well, and here's the thing, like and this is what I'm talking about, where it doesn't work from any angle. So it's like, so we've covered the angle where it's like, oh, they're like real races, where it's no, they're not. And if you think that, you're actually the racist.
Yeah,
and
how are lizard
now-
folk like
now-
any race?
you you haven't been watching enough Alex Jones if you don't think the reptilians are among us.
Yeah, the reptilians.
Anyway,
Putting magic in the water, making the frickin' frogs gay.
making
they're
the
not
frickin'
frogs.
elves dark.
We're not talking about grung, goddammit.
So on that
Making the
level,
fucking Gripply gay.
that level it fails. On the cultural level, this is just there's already exceptions. Like drow are evil. They have a very evil society. They have
They're
produced
poster-
Drizzt, which is the poster boy of D&D characters. If you ask anyone on the street, name a character from D&D, they will stare at you blank faced,
Yeah.
or they'll maybe say Drizzt. And
Yeah.
as the hero
Or they'll say someone from
who has
Stranger
born
Things.
8 billion clones, like there's nothing in the rules saying that you can't play an evil race as a good guy. There's never been.
Yeah.
And it would be up to the character to explain why your guy's different. And again, that
Also-
adds flavor. That adds
Also-
uniqueness.
I would like to say, as someone who DMs and has read shit tons of D&D lore, 90% of people don't even know the lore and cultures of those races they play anyway.
To be fair, we never did kind of like the I don't know what the D&D equivalent is, but like a Pathfinder society type thing, where the people who do care about the lore and are very like, we've always kind of just played with ourselves and the people we knew, and none of us have ever cared.
Even when I talk to other players, they don't. Most of them are like, I don't really focus too heavy on that. If it's a region with a lot of racism, I'll let the character know. That's about it. Like, they don't go super heavy. Like, when I was researching into like races on how to make things for like gods and how they interact with people and how certain priesthoods would interact with certain races, I learned so much shit and it blew my goddamn mind. It was like, there's so much lore.
I think
And that's the last thing that I have to mention, where it's like, this is a fantasy world where there are literal evil gods who have birthed evil civilizations who are, attract or have enslaved certain races and stuff. How are you going to make an Ithilid good?
like
Where are the
here-
good mind flayers? What
Well,
have
no,
they
no, no.
been
I
up
don't.
to?
Here's the thing. I don't think
Also-
that's what they're. I don't think that's what they're saying though.
I
What
think
they're saying. This is what's going on. All right. I can put myself in the shoes of some fucking executive over at Wizards of the Coast who's like, there's a movement going on. PC culture is like a big deal at the moment, and I could maybe see how that guy is shaking in his very expensive boots and his suit, being like, maybe it's a matter of time before someone points the finger at our fantasy game that just doesn't really understand it, and they go, why is the evil race dark skinned? And we should just get out ahead of that and like get rid of that before anyone tries to shit in our pot. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, they're just trying to get out ahead of like the PC culture, like finger wagging at something like Drow, you know?
It's so stupid, though.
But that's
You
definitely
know
what's
what? All right.
happening.
The difference between Drow and like something like those little fucking tribal dudes from that one game we were arguing about the other week
Well, there's no like
is that
mask with
yeah,
giant red lips and shit.
Drow
like that.
are not like meant to be a caricature of like African Americans in real
It's
life.
an elf with dark skin.
But
Yeah.
that's why they're changing orcs.
And
because
honestly,
natives.
God, it's so fucking stupid.
That's the argument
But it's
they're
so
using
dumb
for orcs.
though, because even with orcs, you still can't compare it to the mask thing. It's like an orc is just an orc. It's like,
I'm
what are we
not the
supposed
one
to do?
making that comparison.
No, no,
That's
I know
them.
you're not. I know you're not. But I'm just saying, it's like, I'm just making the point that it's like, that's such an absurd
We're
equivalence.
gonna get to a point where it's like, even like cool Aztec stuff, or like, is there body paint? Is there, like,
Are we not allowed to reference, like, are orcs? Are we never allowed to have like a tribal culture in a fantasy setting
I
ever
think
again?
it's gonna
Like,
get
I don't.
there. I don't think we're
I
there
kind of
yet.
failed to see when I read like orcs in that article. I was like taken aback. I was like, "What's bad about orcs? I don't get it. I've been looking at orcs in D&D my whole life. Am I just fucking naive? Am I missing it? Like, what's the thing that's offensive about orcs? I don't understand. It's just weird. It feels to me like exactly what I explained. It's some guy at the top at Wizards just being like, maybe at some point in the near future, someone's going to point a finger at our game and be like, that's racist. And before we even give them the chance to do it, we're just going to come out and be like, we're going to get rid of all this stuff. So it's not even a problem
Modules
at any
changing.
point in the fucking future.
Modules are changing because of this, and that annoys me.
Modules are changing. So have they said what they're doing?
They said that they're
Specifically?
going to be the Drow is the first target, and that's going to be hitting up in Erebron, like the new book. Like, they're going to basically reintroduce that culture, and
Yeah.
then they're going to retroactively continue that throughout all their other books.
So what are they doing specifically to Drow? Do we know? Are they just going to
No,
make
don't
them
know
all
that
they
yet.
like?
haven't said anything yet. And then
All right.
there's the further conspiracy grapevining that I got through my fucking all my fucking deep tinfoil hatting.
Deep state,
Yeah, deep
my
state.
deep state D&D.
Yeah, my
lore.
deep state D&D that I put my tinfoil hat on.
D&Deepstate.
Yeah, that's my
That's a
other
good-
channel.
that's
Go
a
check
good
it out. D&Deepstate.
That's a very good channel name.
It's probably going to be the name of this video.
But anyway, that they're planning. It is a thought, not a full-on plan, but it is a plan because they feel that certain races fulfill certain roles that it feels what's the word I'm looking for? God, I can't remember the fucking word right
It's
now.
got to just be like the thumbnail just has to be like, it's got to be like a picture of like, I don't know, like Hillary Clinton with like Drizzt's head on her, or
Oh, I was
something like
gonna
that,
say, I
or
want my
like,
character with the Charlie Sheen, like all the notes connecting.
No, I am not.
or like Alex
going to-
Jones behind the Infowars desk, but with like Drizzt's head on his shoulders.
I can't.
Drizzt.
No, I cannot use any. Like for my video, like I cannot take anyone
what about
and
Alex Jones?
artificially darken their skin to make them a drow. I cannot
No,
do that.
I was talking about my character, like my Dragonborn.
Oh,
That to
okay.
me- that to me
Like,
is so fucking stupid too.
Well,
Like,
literally everyone on this podcast is saying that we don't give a shit about the drow thing and we don't understand it. So
Yeah.
just put a fucking drow head on Alex Jones.
I'm gonna no. You know what? I'm gonna take Alex Jones. I'm gonna make him green. I'm gonna make him look like an orc, and
Yeah,
he's gonna
okay.
be. And then on the teleprompter is going to be Lizard Man Hillary Clinton.
Richie, what are you gonna say?
I want to be in the background with the.
Yeah, there
the
you
idea with like what Rob said, with like that statement of we feel like certain races get like pushed into certain like roles. I don't see a fucking problem with that. Like
That
tiefling
race-
warlocks. The reason tieflings are good warlocks is because they have like demonic blood in them. It's not
That
because they're
race-
fucking racist.
That's
Like-
racist. That's the argument. They're afraid that that's gonna come down onto them.
Well, they're even mentioning taking away like ability modifiers from race. That
Yeah,
was
that's the
another
whole
release.
thing. Yeah, that was
Wow.
the whole thing.
Stupid
That's
too.
the state. Where
Hey,
they're gonna fucking change that whole thing up
Hey,
in 5.5 or 6.
can I raise my hand really quick on that? For the reasons that they're doing it, that's kind of stupid. But from a
Yes.
game balance perspective, I like that. I think that's cool because I've always been the kind of guy that hates how I'm shoehorned into playing certain races based on the class I want to play. If I can play any combination of anything because ability score modifiers are no longer present, sign me up.
But something will always
I'm signed
shoehorn you
up.
into doing something better because they're gonna have to do something with the race.
Yeah, but if it
matters.
matters less, then I'm down with it. Like if I can realistically be like, oh yeah, I'm a tiefling fighter or whatever, and I don't feel like I'm that fucked for doing it because the stats aren't fucking me, thumbs up.
Well, I mean, the worst you can
Thumbs up, bro.
replace is
Like,
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, it don't matter. But like I said, just real quick, to that point, I understand like the more option, the better from like a character creation standpoint. But it is a little immersion breaking. Like, you know, when I pick the elf, I expect my character, if that setting's elves, are graceful and like fast. Like I want to have that extra skill in it.
I think that stifles creativity.
Uh,
personally.
But it's immersive though.
Why
No,
can't
it's
I
not.
be the smart lizard folk?
That's not immersive. You can still do it if you
How's it
want to.
Immersive.
How is it? I don't understand how you're saying it is immersive. If I
I
want to
get it.
play an elf, no. I understand what he's saying, but I strongly disagree because it's like, sure, my stat bonuses say that my elf is better at being like a rogue or a ranger, and therefore that's what the elves
Or
in
a
the
monk.
setting are good at. So it makes sense that that's what I'm playing as an elf. Yada yada yada. Bing bong bing. But like without that, at least I can be creative and I can be like, oh, I'm playing an elf warlock.
I prefix this with, from a character creation standpoint, it makes sense, but from like an immersive story standpoint, it doesn't.
I'm arguing that immersion is, in your depiction of it, very boring. Because then it's like, oh, well, every elf is going to be this class at all
no.
times.
See, that I disagree with. 'cause-
How?
Eldar shouldn't have had higher initiative than like a
Oh,
human.
well, hold on.
Well,
let's
that's different. Now
rewind
we're
this
talking about
back.
balancing a war.
No, I'm not
team.
talking about balance. I'm talking about the idea that they're faster in like lore, so they'll have a stat that makes them better at it.
Right, but we can portray that without stats.
I'm
Why does it
using
have
that as
to
the
be
example
stats?
of, look, they're doing something in rules that reflects what the race is
Right,
good
so
at.
hold on. Can I counter that with this? Why does it have to be stats? Why can't elves have some kind of racial ability or power that's like indicative of their
Wait a second.
Ultimately,
live,
that's the same
graceful
thing.
But isn't it the
nature?
same thing
And
then, where you feel shoehorned?
No, it's not, because you're not. Can I finish my
Rich?
thought before I get interrupted
Yeah.
real quick? The point that I'm making is that if an elf has a ability that portrays him as being a little bit faster and more graceful as other races, but it's not as simplistic as plus whatever to dex, then I can still have that benefit
Maybe it can
if
plus
I'm
one
playing as a
initiative.
fighter. So when I'm standing in the party next to the orc fighter, I'm still more graceful and lithe than him, but I'm not shoehorned into playing something like a rogue. It kind of carries over to whatever it is that I want to play. And then boom, elves are still the lithe, graceful race, but I get to play a fighter or a paladin or a warlock or whatever
you're
and still
saying
be
let
more
it be a
graceful
bonus.
than the other guy.
Yeah, so you're saying let it be a bonus that reflects that nature, but let it not be a numerical stat bonus.
Well, let it not be a numerical stat bonus that says, well, I'm just better off if I play a ranger, and I'm literally mathematically cucking myself if I decide I want to play a fighter. That's what I'm saying. You can
I
still.
don't get how.
I
I was gonna
just
say, I don't get how you give them any bonus that doesn't make them better at the job than someone else.
give them plus one to initiative. That symbolically says, oh, they are faster than most people.
All right, fine. All right, that's fine. That's
With a
something
little
very
bit-
basic and very
with a
lackluster,
little-
honestly.
with
But
a little bit of creativity, you can figure it out. It doesn't
How is
have to
that any
be
more-
plus 2
any
dex
less
or whatever.
lackluster?
but see,
plus two
to
dex.
me, I kind of disagree with that entirely, because realistically, the biggest change you could go from is a race that gives a +2 in a stat to a race that gives a -2 in a stat. That is ultimately a +2 on whatever roll you're doing or whatever stat. You could still put your 18 in the -2 and walk away with a +3 on whatever roll. It's not the best, but it's not unplayable. And so, yeah, you right now there's nothing stopping you from making an elf warrior. There's nothing stopping you from making an orc mage.
Well, yeah, of course, there's nothing stopping you. I can write it on my sheet and I can do it. But the point is that in the current system, I'm mathematically going to, with the exact same numbers, which is never going to happen. But if two people roll the exact same stats,
Well, yes, sir.
and we both, yeah, but I'm saying in like a rolling situation or whatever. Let's take standard array. So two dudes want to play fighters, but one guy's like, I really like elves, but I also like kind of like heavily armored fighter type classes. And the other guy is like, well, I'm going to play a fighter, but I'm going to min max it. I'm going to play like an orc or whatever, or like a Goliath or whatever the fuck. That guy's just mathematically going to be better because they're going to put their points into the same shit. And then the dude who's playing the race that's built for it is just mathematically going to be better. I can understand the argument of wanting elves to just be naturally good at like rangers and rogues and all that horse shit. But I think it would be really cool if, and I'm not a writer for fucking Wizards, so I'm not saying I'm coming up with the rules right now any better than they could, but I think it would be really neat if they came up with some kind of system of bonuses that these races could have that isn't as simple as just +2 to this stat. So I could feasibly play an elf fighter that still kind of gets representation as being like whatever an elf is supposed to be as the setting dictates, but as whatever class I want to play.
Again,
That's all I'm saying. I
think
don't think
you
there's anything
do,
wrong with that.
because the difference then when it comes to that is that it's a collaborative game. It's not competitive.
You think I do what?
That you do get that. You don't get like there's nothing prohibiting you from even playing a very good fighter even with this +2 -2. Because
Well, there is. Well, Anthony, all right.
disagree.
You and me can. Okay, no, you and me can argue the difference between very good or not good. I'm not saying that like the difference between an elf not having a certain +2 than an orc has makes that big of a difference. But in terms of min max, it technically it does make it makes a mild difference.
You'll always
Yeah.
have it.
But to me, like that's
I don't
when
understand
you,
why this is so weird. All I'm saying is
It's saying
it's
Karen
not
likes
weird. No
the
one's saying
diversity
it's
more,
weird.
and you're
I
not-
get where you're
well, no,
coming
but
from.
Rich-
Like,
No, I know, but Richie keeps arguing against it. And all I'm saying is it's
Me
just
too,
like
but
if
it's
you
just
don't have
how we see it, you know?
I'm just saying if you don't have the stat bonuses, I think it kind of ups creativity a little bit in the sense that like immersion to me is a really weird word to use when we're talking about this because it's like I don't understand how it breaks immersion. If anything, I think it's really interesting because I can sit down at a table with a bunch of people and I can be like, "What race are you playing?" And the guy goes, "Oh, I'm playing an elf." Realistically, I have no hope of necessarily guessing what class that guy's going to play because the system no longer dictates that it makes more sense for that person to play anything over anything else. And I think that's really cool. I think that's creative. I think it's interesting. Maybe I'm a little sick of just seeing elves all being a certain class.
Maybe,
is
see,
the
but to
point
me
that I'm
again,
getting
it's immersive. That like, if I'm sitting down with my character in a room full of people, if that setting's orcs are fuck huge dudes that are just naturally stronger than humans, I want that to reflect in the race.
And it can without a stat bonus.
But then
Again, I
doesn't
don't
that,
think
depending on the bonus, doesn't that just equate to the same thing, that they're better at certain roles?
No, not necessarily, because it depends on how the game is written for it. Once again, I'm saying I'm not a writer at Wizards of the Coast. I'm not going to come up in the 10 minutes that we've been talking about this. I'm not going to come up with a better rule than what they have in place right now. My point is, with a little bit of creativity, you can come up with something to be like, oh, okay, so this orc's playing a rogue. So there's something rules-wise that makes him act a little bit differently from that elf that's playing a rogue, without there being the difference of, well, the elf's got like a plus to dex and the orc doesn't. Do you see what I'm saying? There can be something there.
You were talking about before. They have traits instead
Think
of
about
bonuses to
yeah.
stats.
Here you go. Here's a good example to prove my point. Think about like Dark Heresy and what Dark Heresy does. Now, granted, everyone's playing a human, so it's not quite the same thing. But let's talk about like backgrounds in something like Dark Heresy. And there are like mild stat differences in Dark Heresy too. But if we throw that shit aside and we only focus in on like the traits, there's cool shit that certain characters get. Throw the stats out the fucking window and just focus on the traits. Like a hive worlder is like, oh, I don't take the penalty for moving through difficult terrain if it's being imposed on me by crowds, because I've lived in it all my life, and that's just a benefit that I get. A dude who's been living on a void ship his whole life won't have that. We can both be playing guardsmen, but I've got that and he doesn't. But he's got some other shit because he's been on ships his whole life because he grew up in the Imperial Navy or whatever. Now you can take a system like that, write some really creative rules, and apply it to races instead of where did I come from. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you can do something like that.
No one's disagreeing with that. It's just, at least
feel like
I don't
Richie's
know
saying
what
it's
Richie's
for some reason.
argument
Not
is.
disagreeing with that concept,
Right.
but again, in your example, like you just said, you're all human. There really is very little difference between you and the guy next to you versus
it's all
D&D,
bullshit,
where the
Rich.
races are so different.
But
Or
it's
at
all
least they could
bullshit.
be.
That's my point.
And
the
for me,
people in the races could be different though. That's the also
Like,
something that I think.
Take a human
Yeah.
who they give sizes, like as a 5'10" dude, he could be jacked out his brains, but an orc is just naturally, biologically stronger. That should reflect in rules somehow.
And
I'm not arguing against that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think they can do it without
older
stats.
editions of like D&D and Pathfinder and stuff, the way they get around it is by having like 800 different sub races or different background choices and stuff like that that
Yeah.
changes your stat bonus array. But again, I from the beginning, I don't see the problem. Like, there's nothing wrong with having two fighters and this guy has a +1 over me. That doesn't invalidate my role as a fighter. And
You know what it matters? It matters at the lower level.
Yeah, only the lower levels. And if you're, say, the only int guy, but you're playing an orc and you're the smartest orc, so you still have a +3. You can work with the DM to then curve down the difficulty of the roles to have overall the same experience as if you were playing the int bonus character. I can't think of a race off the top of my head.
All right,
like, it's a collaborative game. It's not competitive. So
let me give you an example where this matters, though.
Okay.
I can literally give you a first-hand example because we're playing a game where it happened to me, where we didn't use stat array, we rolled, and my stats were pretty trash. So there were races I would have liked to have played that I just felt like I could not because my numbers were so bad. No, it's but
like, there are 3
okay.
other systems to get stats in that game. Just because your rolls fucked you does not mean the races itself are like bad.
All right.
Okay, but that's not the point that I'm making, though. No, hold on. Let me finish my point, because the point that I'm making is that we decided what system we were going to use to make stats. Whether we were using the system that's in place now or whatever new system they're going to come up with in the future, where ability score differences might not exist, it doesn't matter. The point is that before we had stats, we were told by our DM, we're going to roll these. So we did. And when I did, my numbers were not good. So now I feel relatively shoehorned into playing a race that gives me the benefits that I need statistically for my class. Because if I don't, my rolls are going to be really bad. They're just going to be really bad.
Isn't that just a form of you trying to min-max, though?
Well,
no,
let's not
it's a
even
form
talk
of trying.
min-max.
No. Hold on. It's not a form of me trying to min max. It was a form of me trying to actually be useful to my party because my numbers were bad. If I didn't take if I played like a tiefling, okay, I would have started the game with like a fucking AC of like 14 or something like that as a monk because I wouldn't have gotten any like of the stat bonuses that I needed, and like my to hit rolls would have been shit and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, if I want to make a character that dies in the first 2 combats, I'll pick a race that doesn't give me the stat bonuses I need for my armorless class that gets his dex plus wisdom on AC. Like, you see what I'm saying? Now granted, we could have.
You're only equating at that low level a difference of 1.
Yeah, but listen, all I'm saying is it does make a difference, especially in my case where my stats were not good. Now, if I had rolled better numbers, yes, is it still only a difference of 1 regardless of my argument in terms of my rolls? 100%. Would I like to play a game where maybe I can thumb through the book and every racial option it gives me and I can be as creative as I fucking want? I could have said, oh, I want to play a Goliath monk and be allowed to do that without feeling like my stats are just going to be kind of worse for wear at the start of the game. I would love that. That's all I'm saying. So the idea of wizards being, even if it's for this weird like racial PC culture reason, the idea of wizards being like, we're going to get rid of ability score differences between races, to me is cool. I like it because I like coming up with whatever race and class combo I want, and immersion doesn't apply to me.
I could be down. I could be down with the system that like you're kind of like suggesting if the bonuses were like, I don't know, like I'm not going to use the word good, but you know what I mean when I say good. Like if the bonuses reflected it accurately and were interesting, then I could be down for the type of system you like. But until I see a system like that, I have no problem with the races getting stat bonuses. I think
well,
it's
obviously, if they get rid of the ability score increases, something will replace it. We just don't know what that's going to be. What do you think? They're going to rip them out and not give races anything to fucking
Well,
compensate?
I mean, they literally did basically a statement saying we're going to make the races in general less interesting because they can't be evil or tribal or anything anymore. So if they're not going to be interesting from a lore perspective, that doesn't mean they're going to be interesting from a mechanics perspective. That's my cynical take. That's my cynical take.
That's rough. That's rough and cynical. Maybe you're right, but I would assume that they're going to replace them with something.
Yeah, I think they're gonna focus more on
what
abominations and things being evil and less on the playable races.
Well, what if I identify as an abomination?
Well, that's just your depression talking.
I identify as a fuckface.
And anyway, that is our debate on this issue. Please leave in the comments below what you think.
They won't.
They
won't, Rob.
I will.
We give a fuck about their opinions.
Well, shut up. It's good for the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, fuck all of you. I'm
there...
reading Dota patch notes.
Me too. And eating goldfish.
Real quick.
Debate.
I just wanna needle Brandon real quick. Brandon, Nyx is the only character that's still alive.
Yeah, that's true. You're not wrong, but that's also just rules.
Yeah. I know. I just thought it'd be funny to bring up.
It is. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. Please tune in next time. Share, like, and subscribe, and comment below.
Let's end this cast just so we can play Dota quicker.
Monkey King got a huge nerf. That's all.
That is all. Goodbye, everyone.
That's all. These patch notes are huge.